औज़ुबिल्लाहिमिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। आपका मेज़बान आरिफ जहांगीरी एक दफ़ा फिर प्रोग्राम कम्युनिटी टॉक के साथ नाज़रीन हाजिर है। नाज़रीन, आपको पता है कि कनाडा डे हमारे सबके लिए, हम कैनेडियन के लिए बड़ा स्पेशल दिन होता है। और जाहिर सी बात है, जब कनाडा डे होता है ये बड़ी खुशियाँ मनाई जाती हैं, चरागा होता है। रात को ज़बरदस्त 5 वक्त हम सब लोग देखने जाते हैं और ज़बरदस्त प्रोग्राम अरेंज होते हैं। और क्यों ना हो, क्योंकि जाहिर सी बात है इस कंट्री के कनाडा डे जो है जुलाई 1 वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट है। इस मुल्क के अंदर जो डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज़ हैं वो शायद ही किसी और मुल्क के अंदर मौजूद होंगी। बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है, यहाँ एक दूसरे का लोग बड़ा लिहाज करते हैं, ख्याल करते हैं। यहाँ का मेडिकल सिस्टम लोग चाहते हैं, यहाँ बहुत सारे लोग इमिग्रेंट होकर आते हैं सिर्फ मेडिकल सिस्टम की वजह से। यहाँ का तालीमी निज़ाम भी ज़बरदस्त है, तालीमी निज़ाम ग्रेड 1 से लेकर 12 तक फ्री है बिल्कुल। एक बड़ी तादाद हर साल यहाँ इमिग्रेंट होकर आती है और इस मुल्क को अपना देश बनाती है, जैसे मैंने बनाया आज से 22 साल पहले। तो आज के स्पेशल इस एपिसोड के अंदर मैंने दावत दी है पाकिस्तानी नुसरात, एक हमारी एमपी हैं जो तीसरी दफ़ा पार्लियामेंट के अंदर इलेक्ट होकर गई हैं लिबरल पार्टी की तरफ से। बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट एमपी हैं, बड़ा ज़बरदस्त काम करती हैं, बाय प्रोफेशन लॉयर हैं। आप लोग जान ही गए होंगे कि वो कौन है। 2015 के अंदर पहली दफ़ा जो है वो अक्टूबर 2015 के अंदर पहली दफ़ा एमपी बनी, उसके बाद सेकंड टाइम अक्टूबर 2019 के अंदर बनी और तीसरी दफ़ा जो है अभी रिसेंटली 20 सितंबर 2021 में वो जो है एमपी बनी है और उनकी ये थर्ड टर्म है। बहुत सारी इंपॉर्टेंट कम्युनिटीज़ को ज्वाइन किया है उन्होंने। तो आइए हम जो है ना आपकी मुलाकात इकरा खालिद एरेंडल राइडिंग से, जो हमारी एमपी है इकरा खालिद साहिबा, उनसे मुलाकात कराते हैं। थैंक यू फॉर गिविंग द टाइम टू राउंड 60.
Thank you so very much, Arif Bhai. I would have come sooner, but as soon as I came into town, I said, Arif Bhai is my #1 priority. Thank you for taking the time with me.
No, definitely. And Iqra is always really appreciate, because I appreciate your work. I see your work. You're trying your best. You're giving you 100% what you can give to as a parliamentarian. I read your diaries as well. I read your parliament diary, what you are doing there, how many missions you put it in, how many things you are doing there. So those are all the things, right? So I know that you are trying your best.
Thank you.
And you are very engaged with the community, especially with the youth. I saw that.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
So Iqra, my first question really is that what are as a senior parliament, now you are the senior parliament, right? This is the third time. So as a senior parliament, what are some key responsibilities the Liberal government giving to you?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I'll say I can't believe I'm on my 8th year as a parliamentarian. I was 29 when I was first elected, and I'm not 29 anymore. But this term in Parliament, I have a number of responsibilities. First and foremost, I think the heaviest one that I'm carrying is a Governor and Council appointment by the Prime Minister to the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians. This is a top secret committee. So when we go into these committee meetings, twice a week, I'm locked away in a soundproof room without access to my phone for about 7 hours at a time. We deal with issues involving all of our security and intelligence community in Canada. We are the oversight body for their actions and how they're operating, ensuring that, that they're operating effectively, that they're providing safety to Canadians, while also respecting and maintaining our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So some of the bodies that we provide oversight to are CSIS, RCMP, Defense, Canadian Armed Forces, CSE. All of these agencies combined together is the security intelligence community in Canada. The second responsibility I have is that I vice chair the Ethics Committee. It's Access to Information, Privacy and Ethics. And this committee is responsible for a number of things, including lobbying commission, including ensuring that Canadians' privacy is maintained, that they have access to all of the information that they require about themselves, about Canada's history, etc., and ensuring that parliamentarians, that government is conducting itself in an ethical fashion.
Ethical fashion.
The third committee I am sitting on, it's a temporary assignment, but it's one that I find very interesting, and I'd love to talk more about it. I sit on the Agriculture Committee.
Okay.
So this committee really is about how is Canada's agriculture, agri-food market being impacted in Canada? Do we have, the cost of food, for example? How do we market our goods across the world? How do we get our goods to market? How do we make sure that health and safety is being maintained in Canada as well? Very, very interesting committee, and it's a new file, so I'm learning a lot on it. And then the last thing is that I'm on the ad hoc committee for the Winnipeg Labs study. If you recall, there was an incident where two scientists were fired from their jobs because of some allegations of some security breaches, which dealing with virology in Winnipeg. So that is, again, another top secret committee, which will be ramping up in the next couple of months as well. Other than that, I participate in debates in the House. I'm part of an economic sub-caucus as well, where we talk about how we can improve Canada's economy, how do we engage business a lot more. I'm also, I have so much. I'm also the vice chair of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association,
Yes.
Which is an association that engages with other Commonwealth countries across the world, where we build synergies, we learn from each other. How do we create effective parliaments? How do we tackle the issues of our generations collectively as a global community? And then the last thing I'll say that I do in Ottawa is that I'm on the executive committee of the Interparliamentary Union. Specifically, I'm a member of the Human Rights Committee, where all the interparliamentary, so all the countries in the world that have a parliamentary system, we have a union, and as the work that we do, my focus is on human rights across the world, and how do we as parliamentarians make sure that we are working to really uplift and eradicate violations of human rights.
That's wonderful. So many communities, and I am really surprised that why Mr. Trudeau is not saying that I want to give you a full-fledged minister.
Well, I'm doing a lot. I'm doing a lot, and I'm doing
I know
the things
that you
I love.
are doing a lot, and you are very, especially I realize that the most of your work, which is focused more on the security and the privacy side. So more of the security things you are involved in, it looks like that some special ministry is waiting for you in the future. That's what my thought is, that because I know that you are the lawyer as well. So
Yes.
I know that you understand the legal formalities of the country as well. So I think that's why you are in so important committees, actually. It's
I
really,
serve at the
it's
pleasure
honor.
of the Prime Minister.
No, it's a great honor for the community itself that you are really putting your efforts in a very important committees, right?
Thank
and
you.
this is very important. So I know that one of there are two top secrets. I don't want to ask about those committees too much inside, because I know that those are the things which we not usually disclose. Let's keep it into the committee. But one of the committees definitely that I can ask, and that's Privacy and Ethics Committee, because that's related to the consumer side.
Yes.
And the community side, right? So this is one of the challenging time, Iqra, that we are living in a world of a digital world, right? We are living in online, cloud, technology, and this, and on the blink of an eyes, we can transfer our millions of dollars from one end to the other ends, and there are a lot of fraud is also going on.
Yes.
People are compromising on their bank accounts. Big organization, enterprise are hacked. All their data is hacked, and then the consumer data is compromised as well. So these committee, I know that is very special name. When I saw, okay, so this committee is thinking about those issues actually.
Yes.
So what are some steps, and what are some discussion is going on within this committee?
So in the past, we've had studies on mobility data. Like, you know, when you have your phone and your GPS kind of tracks you where you are, how much of your privacy do you maintain? Is that data that is collected, is it aggregated? Is it disaggregated? Is it possible for somebody to look through a list of pinged phones, for example, through a satellite tower to say, Arif Bhai was at this location at this time, what was he doing there? Or whatever question, or maybe I can, advertise to him that it's lunchtime and he should be eating at this restaurant through his Facebook app or what have you. So we were looking at how do we ensure that Canadians' privacy, their mobility data, their digital footprint is within their own control and is not being sold or manipulated by major tech companies to basically make profit.
They are actually.
Absolutely. So I mean, I'm of the view that that you know it's not a private world anymore, but we do need to ensure that we're providing the consumer that protection. And so we propose changes to the Consumer Protection Act to really take into account what this digital world is. We've also looked at facial recognition technologies, where you know you go into a mall, there's cameras everywhere. Can a camera, you know, through facial recognition technology, pick up your facial features, and then how is that information used? Where is that information used? You know, police, RCMP, other security agencies, are they using that information? Are our human rights being violated, for example? So that was another issue we looked at. Our latest report was a very interesting one, although a very technical one, but I'm very excited by it.
You know that I'm a technical person as well.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
So I understand what you're talking about here.
I really appreciate
and I will tell
that.
you what it really is.
I appreciate that. This is about access to information.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you are applying for an immigration file, what have you, and you want to see what the visa officer's notes were in terms of coming to the conclusion that the visa officer came to, or the immigration officer. Now, what you normally would do is we would file it for an ATIP, which gives you access to all of the notes that were on your file, for example. Now, because of COVID, because of the big backlogs in the systems, that access to information, whether it's the immigration department, the CRA, or any other department, you know, heritage, or it's getting delayed. And so we are trying to find out how we can unclog the system to make sure that if you want access to your file, you shouldn't have to wait 2 to 5 to 10 years in order to get that access. Now, I know that while we have improved the system significantly, there are some recommendations that we made that would really...
But the Revenue Canada is actually doing this job, right? That individual can go his access and he can find out whatever he is there, right? So already the government, some systems are placed there.
Some systems are in place.
Yes.
We need kind of a whole of government to ensure that the whole system is working, right?
Okay.
So that's our latest report. It was tabled in the House just a couple of weeks ago, and so I'm excited to see what the government response will be. I know that the government and Minister Fortier is taking this very, very seriously. In fact, we've had many conversations about this as well.
No, but one of the challenge which is Iqra and everybody is facing. If you go yourself, you can see in a minute, right? This is what I am talking about. If you go in any shopping mall or any particular shop, and you come out from there, and you will go to your social media, you will see the advertisement of that one.
Yeah.
Right? That's what's going on. That your all data is quickly, because artificial intelligence now is blink of an eye. These work. They have the algorithm behind. It's working very fast. It will tell you what Iqra Khalid bought.
Yeah.
And they give you on your social media or about the choices. If you go any website even, and try to find something which you want to buy or you want to purchase, they will give you all the details in a minute on your social media that you have these choices.
Yeah.
So that's very scary for me.
It is, and something for the consumer like to look at. You know, for example, on our phones, we love to use Siri, we love to use Alexa or whatever voice recognition.
Yes.
I always keep my voice recognition turned off. I always keep my location services turned off. You know, there are privacy and security features that are built in within our phones.
Exactly.
But we also want the efficiency, right? If I'm having a conversation with you, I think I need some new Eid clothes, right? You'll see, like, you know, a couple of minutes later, you'll open up your social media apps and you'll start seeing, you know, a whole bunch of Eid clothes that will start showing up. To me, that's quite efficient also, because as I'm, you know, time is money in this day and age. If I'm looking, I don't want to have to go shopping. I want the information on my fingertips. And I think a lot of consumers do want that. But what we need to do is to find the balance between that privacy and the efficiency that technology provides us as well.
That's very important, because I totally agree with you that how the technology is going for data mining and this artificial intelligence, how they work together, is really sometimes scary. Because if you are talking about the money, right? If you're talking about something very specific, private, right? And you don't want that that comes to the social media, right?
Yeah.
Or somewhere else, you get
Yeah.
that information. So it is a very important committee, Iqra, I can say that, because we all suffer.
Yeah.
And I feel that the government, the liberal government, do something really, and they will make some compliance to all the industries, that they have to follow this compliance, because there's compliance needed really.
Yeah, well, there's a number of bills that the government is working on, and a couple of years ago we did come together with the digital charter, which addresses a lot of these issues. Now, one of the main challenges, especially you mentioned, artificial intelligence. Look at ChatGPT. Look at how fast that whole it's how fast it's growing. That whole industry. It's difficult to create regulations, which takes time. I mean, a bill, in order to pass through the House, has to go through 9 steps, and it often takes months for it to go through all of the debates and its due process. By the time that it's reached at that level to achieve the regulation, the technology's changed again, right? So we do need to be a little bit more efficient in providing that consumer protection, in ensuring that people's privacy is protected, and making sure that people are not being taken advantage of. But we need to be really nimble about it. And that's where the digital charter comes in. That's where, conversations like this, that's where raising awareness to the consumer comes in. And just ensuring that each company that is working on these technologies inserts what is a concept called privacy by design within their frameworks, within their applications, so that they have a system to protect the privacy of, that's stored on the servers, the data, the information, that they're being very, very careful with how they're using that data, and most importantly, the ability to make sure that that data cannot lead to an individual being identified. Another concept that I think is really important is your right, your ability to delete your information that is on the internet. To completely erase it from the system.
It's not possible, I'm telling you now.
Right now it is not, but this is something that I'm really intending to work on.
You can disable the information, but you cannot delete it.
You cannot delete it.
Yes.
So that I think is a right that every person should have.
Supposed to.
Yeah. So this is something that I will be making sure that we're working on.
So one of the issue I just come in my mind all of a sudden, right, is remind me, because there's one issue is the investigation committee is formed by the Trudeau government regarding that influence of a foreign in the election, intervention in the election, right? Yeah. That's cool. And I know that the answer given by one of the chief who put it for the
Mr. David Johnston.
Yeah, so he said that there is nothing wrong. He clarified that one, and he gives some information definitely. But conservative government is too against that. They're not accepting that.
Well, see, this is why I'm a little bit annoyed, I'll be honest with you, because foreign interference is a very, very serious issue. It is the core, I guess, a threat to our democratic institutions. Can another state actor come into Canada and impact our elections, the way that we conduct our democracy under threat? So this is not, and it should not be, a political issue. This should not be about, about conservatives.
Your government or my
exactly.
opposition or government.
All of us together collectively. Yes. So the narrative that the conservative government has really been pushing, the disrespect that they showed this independent special rapporteur who looked into this issue, is absolutely disgusting in my opinion. I think that this is the time that we put aside partisan politics. We come together and say, okay, we don't need to say, let's identify an issue. I take Mr. Johnston's report. I think it was a very, very well-written report. Mr. Johnston is a very well-reputed person.
Well-recognized person. He is.
Very much so.
He is.
I think this is the time now where we talk about what are we going to do about it. Canada has always been, because we are such a multicultural country, it's always been an interesting target for a lot of state actors across the world. Now, when we talk about foreign interference, we understand that it's absolutely allowed and legal for a country to send a diplomat to try to encourage someone or to encourage a government that they aap aise kar lein, or this is what's good for us, let's build a relationship this way, lobbying, advocacy.
That's always been. Lot of lobbying firms working in the United States from different countries.
Exactly, and that's
And they are
absolutely
paid.
legitimate. Yeah.
And they are paid as well.
Yeah, absolutely legitimate.
Yes.
Because it's in front, right? It's on the table. This is what we are doing. This is who we are. This is what we came here to do. The difference between diplomacy and engaging with other countries and foreign interference is the covert nature. अगर आप छुप के कर रहे हैं ना, then there's something malicious about it, right?
Definitely.
So we need to figure out that how do we protect our democratic institutions while also maintaining our relationships with the world. This is not a new concept. This has been going on since the formation
But
of countries.
we have to secure our
Exactly.
democracy. That's how, what else we can do, that
Exactly.
we make sure that if something has happened or we have the doubt about it,
Yeah.
that we have to make our system more secure. That's
Exactly.
most important, I think.
Exactly.
So, and then it is the job of all parliamentarians. It's not the job of the government only. Is the position
Everyone.
and everybody who is in the parliament. And I agree with you on that one. There should not be any partition on that one.
Yes.
So now I know that Liberal Party, one of the important area where they have a good support is the immigrant community all over the country. But in this crunch time after the COVID and all these things, these are very crunch financial time. There are some issues is growing, and I'm reading one of the report. There are seven top of the issues at the moment in the country, and one of them is definitely that the high interest rate. That's because you know that our economy is based on the real estate.
Yeah.
One of the major factor, the real estate play a vital role in that one. And the interest rate growth means that the people who are investing in real estate, they are really paying more now. And what they are coming, they are the smaller businessmen, they are the medium size of businessmen who investing in that one. They are really facing the huge challenges now. So what your government is seeing that issue?
Well, I think you're talking about two issues, and I think you're very right to combine the two together.
Yes.
I think that first and foremost, Canada is one of the top performing G7 nations, if not the topmost. BNN Bloomberg actually put out a report.
You can say.
We're beating the US, we're beating Japan, for example, and I think that in light of where we are today, with an inflation rate of 3.2%, where we have the lowest unemployment rate at the moment out of all of the G7 nations, we are on an incline. We are going up, and this right now, the moment that we are standing on right now, we have the most record diversified economy that Canada has ever known in its history. In the past, Canada has really relied on the oil and gas. We have really gone through those changes and really tried to make sure that we are not just leveraging oil and gas, we are transitioning into not only clean technology, but we're also ensuring that through for example, the Asia Pacific strategy, we are leveraging our agri-foods, our agriculture, our tech sector all across the world to ensure that we are diversifying, whether it's through CETA or the CPTPP or various trade agreements. We're negotiating one with the UK right now to really build and diversify. The housing piece of it, and you're absolutely right, with immigration, as we've committed to increasing our immigration numbers, there's positives and there's negatives. The positives, as we face significant labor shortages, that is our biggest setback right now to really growing our economy at an exponential level. It's to ensure that we rely on immigration to do that. But at the same time, we want to make sure that when immigrants come to Canada, they have the ability to live with dignity, to have access to affordable housing. And that's why in 2015, we announced a 10-year, $82 billion plan on creating a national housing strategy. So far, that strategy has built over 107,000 new units. The reality of the matter is that building housing, is not a federal issue. So I would really, and I've had these conversations with our provincial counterparts multiple times.
I will tell you, one of the challenge which your government is facing, 170,000 is just the peanuts, believe me.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Right, it's just the peanuts. Because if you see the number of students which is coming from India is 250,000 students yearly coming, or immigrants coming from India only. Rest of the places I'm not talking about. So there's a huge numbers of the immigrants are coming in the country, and they need the place to live. So I think there is something we are lacking great, right? And there's something you have to ease in your system so people start investing, right, in that
You're absolutely
sector.
right.
Because the government cannot do everything. There's a private sector have to come into and make a right work together with you guys.
It's not just the private sector.
Yes.
It's also this is the sole responsibility of the provincial government. Now we have been able to provide dollars for infrastructure for to encourage the provincial government to create more housing units. But quite honestly, saying, oh, we built 10,000 broom-sized closet, single-person condos, it's not addressing the housing issue. We need to figure out how do we ensure that people that are coming in are not just going into urban centers. Canada is a massive nation. Right now, there is a major immigration deficit in the Atlantic provinces. There's housing available, there's jobs available, but people are not willing to move there,
yes.
right? There's so many opportunities in so many other provinces, but people tend to come to urban centers. And the reason for that, especially as immigrant communities, जहाँ पर चले हमारी community है, हमने वहीं पर
जानने वाला है,
जानने वाले हैं, जहाँ पर supports हैं, जहाँ पर job आसानी से मिल जाएगी, that will help you. So I think part of the equation is also to grow other centers across the country. To say कि अच्छा चले immigrants यहाँ पर क्यों नहीं move हो रहे? Why aren't they moving to these areas? What kind of resources can we put in those areas to say, you know what, we want to encourage people to move there. Now there's multiple provincial nominee programs that are doing excellent work, right? We've trying to attract, lots of talent from across the world with different immigration programs. But at the same time, I think the social aspect, I think empowering local municipalities to grow, to grow urban centers in other parts of the country is also a big undertaking that I think the provincial and territorial governments need to come
I saw that the Ford government also very much they're talking about the affordability of the housing. They are taking the interest as well. I saw that, and I know that the Trudeau government is also very serious about that, because these are serious, and actually one of the key market which we have, a key financial resource which we have at the moment is the real estate in this country. And there are a lot of people are affiliated with this real estate market. So I think government is serious, but I think it is a little bit late when we wake up. That's my thoughts.
Well, we should have woken up about 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So it's unfortunate that the previous government did not make any investments in this sector.
That's why I'm not blaming a particular government here. I think that this is a lack of interest of many governments.
Yeah.
And definitely now we are in the crisis where we have to face and we have to deal with this one.
And I give kudos to Prime Minister Trudeau, where in 2015 he created a 10-year plan to say, you know what, we're going to really put in $82 billion over 10 years to really focus on that infrastructure that Canada is really needing right now, so that we can grow our labor market, so that we can grow our population and grow our economy at the end of the day.
So another important issue, Iqra, because your government, this is also the third term for the Trudeau government as well, and you are, I know that, well connected with your youth as well. So one of the major issues, I'm sure, in many of your around uncles and chachas and everybody, many children of them is already moved to the US, right, after completing their studies. So a brain drain is going on in this country. I myself, at least I can 4 or 5 my friends, very close friends, their children already moved to US after taking a degree from Waterloo or from McMaster or somewhere else. So a huge brain drain is going on. A brilliant students are going to the south of the border. So do your government is really worried about this, or they are thinking this is okay?
Well, I think this is a generational issue. A couple of different things. So maybe first I'll outline what we are doing to support our students. Just in our most recent budget 2023, I was so happy to see this because I've been advocating for it for a very long time. it is to eliminate interest on any student loans on the federal side. So that is now implemented through Budget 2023. Very exciting. A lot of students are very happy about it.
That's exciting news for me as well.
It is. It's wonderful. I guess as somebody who had to go through that process herself, I know how much
burden
helps,
is there,
right?
yes.
And then on top of it, you don't have to start paying back your student loans until you are starting to make a living wage, right? Over $25,000, so that you can
start paying
and then you can start paying back, right? So, and then we, through our Canada Summer Jobs program,
it will be interest free or not?
It will be interest free, right?
Yes. Okay.
So
That's the important thing.
Yeah.
That whatever the loan you took you have to pay back the same.
Yes. Right?
So that's important.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing. And that's a very excellent news, actually.
Yeah.
And I think one of the election campaign.
It's helpful. And then we our Canada Summer Jobs program, we just revamped it here in my riding, Erin Mills. We just created 400 new jobs for young people to get experience, to get trained through summer jobs as they're pursuing their studies over the summer. We have a youth employment strategy to ensure that when you leave school, do you have jobs? Now, we've also really putting into effect the ability for a student to go into a second career should they so choose. So that education, the skills training, it's really being worked on. Now, the reality is that today's day and age, we are living in a gig economy, right? In the time of my parents, I'm sure in your parents as well, after you graduate, एक जॉब लगती थी, सारी जिंदगी के लिए लगती थी, एवरीबॉडी खाते थे, बस आपको बस वही जॉब थी, आप वहां से शुरू किया, आपने वहीं पर से रिटायर हुआ,
सारी जिंदगी की जॉब,
exactly, right?
Not anymore.
It's all contract based. It is all काम से काम. And a lot of it has to do with how young people are living their lives nowadays. A lot of it also, I think, in terms of providing support to students, has to deal with mentorship, with encouraging them. Like, I know I have a youth council. My youth council is one of my favorite parts of my job, is to encourage young people to do more, to take that leadership role. Our young people are very, very smart. And I think that we do need to do more. And the main difference between the US and Canada, that I think जब थोड़े से बड़े होने लगते हैं ना बच्चे, तब उनको समझ आती है, is the quality of life.
Exactly.
Right? It is the ability to settle down, to grow a family, to be comfortable, to be secure, to be able to rely on each other and community to live in a comfortable life. Now, America, the US's economy is like 10 times the size of Canada.
Biggest, one of the biggest world, yeah.
So, I think in a global world, logo ne to aana jana hai, right? And that's the reality of business. And that really plays into that whole gig economy piece. लेकिन हमारा काम ये है कि हम जो लोग interested हैं, हम उनको कैसे बेहतर support कर सकते हैं, जो लोग नए आ रहे हैं, हम उनको कैसे बेहतर support कर सकते हैं.
But I think one of the challenge which I see that your government can do better, and still there is a room for doing the better, is that build a new industries. That's where I see that is challenging, because you need the money to build the new industries.
Well, like I said, this is the most diverse economy that Canada has ever had in its history right now, and we are keeping on going. I'll give you an example, okay? This is something that I've been pushing with the Agriculture Minister recently, which is now why I find myself sitting on the Agriculture Committee. The Asia Pacific markets, right? A country like Indonesia, the biggest country with the biggest Muslim population in it, right? Now, Canada's beef, one of the best in the world.
Okay.
Now, why can't Canada sell its beef to Indonesia?
To the Indonesian market, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To the Muslim market, to the Pacific.
Yes.
Why can't we? Well, because there is no halal certification process,
yes.
right? Can the community come together and say, hey, government, we
and
are going to
create... a huge opportunity.
Right?
It's a huge opportunity.
It would be phenomenal for us to be able to export our beef, our meats, to Muslim countries that really need it.
Yes.
Canola, for example. So Indonesia is a growing market, right? They currently use palm oil, which is less healthy. Canola is
a great,
but palm oil is cheaper.
Yes.
But Indonesia, interestingly, has a growing middle class that can now afford canola oil
as well.
So why are we not really encouraging Indonesia to pick up Canadian canola to to serve
And there are,
to
there are
their
definitely other part of the places as well
yeah.
there.
So that's what I'm saying. You know, when
We have to find the new areas.
exactly,
That's
and that's
the-
where our young people come in because
No, no.
they're innovators. They think outside the box. हमारे तो डब्बे बस बंद हैं,
Exactly.
right?
Doctor engineer. बक्सा
Exactly.
हमारा बंद होता है, ठीक
Exactly.
है.
Exactly. So अब ये नए बच्चे जो आ रहे हैं, like if you look at the tech sector, you look at hackathons, you look at Collision, you look at so many different incubators, accelerators where these startups are coming on. I'll give you another example. There's a small company, well, smallish company in my writing called Stormcore. Two young kids in their 20s developed a battery that replaces diesel and oil for
Wow.
forklifts.
Wow.
And so now they have contracts, and I visited them recently. We, as a government, provided them $4 million to scale up their
What
project,
is their demand?
right?
Yeah.
So now they're picking up contracts from Ford. They're picking up contracts from all across the world. They're based
So
here.
they are
in
converting
this,
actually diesel and
exactly.
oil into the okay.
Exactly,
system,
right?
okay.
So not only are they eliminating greenhouse gases and dependence on diesel and oil, but they're also, using their innovation, creating a market in and of itself, right? So I think providing those opportunities, recognizing, and then, investing in our young people is helping them stay here. But we can't keep everybody here.
So because we have a limited time always.
Of course.
And my last questions, but very important questions, that one of the interview I heard from the Bonnie Crombie, because she is going to be running for the race of the Ontario provincial
Yep.
Liberal Party, so leadership. So she mentioned that Liberals goes too far on the left side. They have to be in the center. So, do you agree? Because you are a very close friend to her, I know that.
I am. I look up to Bonnie. In fact, she was elected as mayor right before I was elected as an MP. So we've kind of grown into our roles together, and I have watched her leadership. She's done a phenomenal job so far, I think. Liberal Party is a big tent party, right? So on the political spectrum, you have your left-leaning, your more towards socialism kind of viewpoints, and then you have your right-leaning, complete privatization. Some would even say right-wing, socialist views, social views as well, social conservative views. And then there's the reasonable middle ground. Now, the reason why the Liberal Party, on provincial level and federal, although I don't represent the Ontario provincials, is that they're able to be that voice of reason. They're able to bring both sides together to the center. Absolutely, when the country, when people need to have more social support, the party is able to provide that support. When the country, when Canadians need more economic support, they're able to provide that support because that is the reasonable ideology, the reasonable center that the Liberal Party is known for. Now, if you look at my own caucus, there are members that are a little bit more left-leaning, a little bit more right-leaning, but ultimately, what we are trying to do is to provide a good foundation for Canadians to be able to succeed on their own. Canadians don't want handouts. They
But
want
as a
the
Muslim
government.
community member, I feel why she say that, because there are two great concerns in the province at the moment. Not only the Muslim community, I'm telling you, I am very much communicating with other communities as well. There are two important factors. That's why they are thinking that the Liberal Party goes too far from their original agenda when they started. On the moral side, right? Especially on the public schooling side, especially on this marijuana and all those liberties that's given by the government. That's really the concern as well. That's why I feel that Bernie Crombie realizing that in the Ontario, people are having a great concern. That's why she mentioned that. My thoughts are like that.
Well, you're absolutely right. I'm sure you are a good evaluator as to what the people in the community is saying. And I can't speak to provincial issues, unfortunately. So schooling is a provincial issue, and we talked about housing, which is many ways a provincial issue. Healthcare is a provincial issue. And at the federal level, we provide that support. I can speak to marijuana and the legalization of it. I can tell you that we tried to criminalize it for decades and hundreds of years, it was a criminal, and it wasn't working. People were still smoking. People were still, using the drug. But now that it's regulated, it is now cleaner. Like it is taking money out of the black market and into and ensuring that people that are only old enough, people that are in a safe environment are using the drug, and that is bad. I mean, काम तो हमारा है कि हम अपने को समझाएं कि क्या अच्छा है क्या बुरा है, right? At the end of the day, we want to make sure that as a whole country, are we keeping Canadians safe or are we not? And these policies impact that.
So I will keep this discussion open for the next time when we meet about that one, because there are many questions
Absolutely.
that I have to discuss with this on this specific discussion, because this is a very important discussion.
Absolutely.
And you open the many areas of discussion, and definitely I have many questions, but we have a limited time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Iqra, and really Eid Mubarak to you as well. I forget to say in the start, and Happy Canada Day, because when we have a program this on air, we have a Canada Day as well.
Thank you so much. Happy Canada Day to you, and Eid Mubarak to you. And I look forward to really working with you to make sure our community is well supported.
Thank you for giving the time.
Thank you.
So this is Iqra Khalid, our MP from Aaron Mill riding, and as I told you that I try my best to reach out at least a couple of times in the years, our MPs, and some MPs give the time and some MPs try to avoid me because I sometimes ask the tough questions as well. But in a very lenient way, I'm not trying to pursue the questions if they don't want to really reply. I hope that you like my program today and what the answers Iqra Khalid given to you. I hope that those answers you are also looking for. Inshallah, next time I will meet you once again with the program of Community Talk next week. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.